Taking care of a family means thinking about the little things that add up over time. The meals you make, the routines you build, the habits that help everyone feel their best. That's why so many families choose Azure Well. Azure Well offers vitamins and supplements focused on purity, potency, and consistency. Every formula is lab tested and designed for people who want confidence in what they're taking every day. Wellness doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it starts with small choices that become lasting habits. If you're thoughtful about what you bring into your family's routine, take a moment to compare what's in your cabinet to Azure Well's line of products. Join a community that believes in better, naturally. Visit AzureLivingWell.com to shop and learn more. That's AZURE livingwell.com. Discover a simpler, healthier way to shop for the things that matter. These products have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hello, this is Julie Hogue with the Vegetarians and Meat Lovers Split Table Recipes podcast. Split table, I mean, it's intuitive, right? What does it really mean, though? I refer to it as making hybrid dishes or split table recipes, hybrid recipes, where the recipe somehow works for vegetarians and meat eaters. So in my house, I'm cooking for myself, the vegetarian, my new daughter-in-law, the vegetarian, and the rest of those men are all meat eaters. So I don't want to be a short order cook. So as much as possible, I have created, modified, finagled recipes that work well for just doing the work once, right? And splitting it at a certain time, adding meat at a certain time, all these different things. There's a lot of ways to do it. It's not hard. People will say to me, how do you cook this way? It's really not that hard. You just have to be mindful of where, when, and how you add the meat to the dish. And I am just coming down off of the wedding weekend. Our oldest son got married, as I mentioned, to the vegetarian daughter-in-law, and they had the most amazing wedding. It was on a farm, so it was a ton of work. We did so much to get ready for it ahead of time, and even the weekend of Friday, Saturday, and then clean up on Sunday. It was kind of more of a do-it-yourself wedding because we actually made the rehearsal dinner. We made it. There weren't a whole lot of catering options out there. And we thought, if we make the food ourselves, it's going to be cheaper and we can give them more money for their gift. So we did a taco meal, and there are 4 options. You had taco in a bag with chips. You could do it with rice in a bowl. I made my Mexican rice recipe that you bake in the oven, and people just loved that. They just ate it all almost. And I had a big giant pan. I think I quadrupled the recipe. Well, there were roughly supposed to be around 60 people. I think it was maybe, I don't know. We never really counted. But anyways, or you could do tortilla or the crunchy corn taco shell. So there were 4 options there. We had to have gluten-free. We had some dairy-free things. We had beans. We had plain rice. And everybody loved the meal. We had 2 kinds of queso, salsa, chips, cookies. And I was just really amazed how many people really liked it. I don't know, maybe they really liked that it was homemade. I don't know, but I cooked. I'm a vegetarian here, right? I cooked 18 pounds of ground beef that morning. That's a lot, and it takes a while. I used an entire big bottle of the taco seasoning and part of another. So that was pretty wild to me. And my husband was helping. We were at a home rental, which was just totally amazing. It was in Mosinee, Wisconsin, on the river, the Wisconsin River. Unbelievable place. I mean, we could have stayed there for a week or 2 and been really, really happy. The boys did some fishing, and it was a beautiful, beautiful home, and they had a big, giant kitchen. But I brought my Ninja. My Ninja is my food processor, and we used that to chop up all the lettuce, the tomatoes, the onions. It was well used. Let's put it that way. We did all the work and we got it done. We did it. The amazing, amazing wedding. It was beautiful. It was a gorgeous day. It wasn't in the 90s, so we're really happy about that. She was beautiful. He was handsome. Oh, the wedding party was just spot on and amazing. And it was so much fun. Dancing. They did the grand march with all these different dances. And they did a shoe game where you had to guess who was right. And if they were right, they held up their shoe. And then they also did a scavenger hunt, which was really fun. I'd never seen that done at a wedding before. It was really super fun. And people really danced. There was a lot of people dancing. And woo, did my son and daughter-in-law dance. They do swing dancing. So they were doing swing dancing in the wedding dress and the suit. And they wowed everybody. They just did amazing. He was picking her up, throwing her over his shoulders, swinging her around, dipping her. It was really fun to watch because I'd never seen them swing dance before. So it was so fun. But now it's over and we're decompressing. We did a lot of work for it and we made it, but it was a lot of work. And so now we're just like, the sigh of being done. And it was amazing. So the recipe I'm going to do today is something that is from my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law came in from Arizona. We had lots of relatives come in town. Actually, well, they went to Wisconsin because the wedding was in Wisconsin. It wasn't in our town. They came to the area. And my mother-in-law used to make this mustard sauce for my husband when he was a kid. She always was making it. And it's kind of meant for pouring over ham. But boy, is it good to use in so many different ways. It's really good on bread. Crescent rolls dipped in it. Amazing. Pretzels dipped in it. You can use it as a spread on your sandwich. Dipping, chicken strips or fries in it. It's so good. It's so good. I'm so excited to share it. I kind of forgot about it for a while. You have these recipes sometimes sitting in your recipe book and you forget about them, right? And all of a sudden it just might pop in your head one day. And that's what happened to me. I was making ham and I was thinking, how can I make the ham a little bit different? Just to spice things up and have something fun. And I remembered, hey, I have this mustard sauce that I haven't made in a very long time. And it's from my mother-in-law. I think the last time I made it years and years ago. And so I'm like, let's do that. And everybody loved it on the ham. But I just had it on the crescent rolls. It was so good. I couldn't get enough of it. It's really simple. And it's just called mustard sauce. And it's super easy. So I doubled this recipe. I'm going to give you just the original recipe and know that when I made it for all of us, I did double it. So it's a half cup of tomato soup, a half cup of prepared mustard. I just used the yellow mustard. 1/2 cup vinegar. I used white vinegar. 1/2 cup sugar. 1/2 cup butter. I did melt it and let it cool. And 1 large egg. So basically, you're going to stir that all together and be whisking it, and you bring it to a boil. Now, we were talking about this, how my husband remembers when he was a kid, how his mom always used to talk about how hard it was to not have lumps in it. And I said, well, I bet I know what the lumps are. If you put the butter in there and the butter hardens, if you put the egg in there, it might start to cook it a little bit. So you kind of want the ingredients all at the same room temp, if you can get it that way. Take your egg out, maybe let it sit out for a little bit before you use it. I did melt the butter and then let it cool. And of course, the mustard you could let sit out too, so it's not cold from the fridge. And that's the best way to do it. And I just kept stirring it. I used a whisk and I didn't get lumps. And afterwards, when we had some leftovers, obviously, and we used it on sandwiches and stuff like that, it did form a little bit of lumps, but I think that's from the butter. So you could heat it and, stir it again and get those lumps out. And it's kind of like making gravy, right? When you're making gravy, you don't want the lumps. You want it to be smooth. You want it to be smooth, baby. And you want this to be smooth mustard sauce. And so I succeeded in doing that, but I did pay attention to temperature. So temperature does matter. You think that's not going to matter, but it does. So if, say you take hot butter, hot melted butter, and you add an egg to it, what's it going to do? It's going to start to cook that egg. You're going to get chunks of yolk or whatever. And it might be really small, but it'll be noticeable in a sauce, right? Because we like our sauces smooth usually, unless it's chunky salsa. That's different. But this is really good to use. And the other way I want to use this is when we were talking about this, when we were eating it, I said, this would be really, really good with those big pretzels. Those big puffy pretzels that you can bake in the oven? Oh, that'd be such a good dipping sauce for that. So now that's on my list. But it's really good. And it's obviously clearly fantastic on ham. My kids didn't remember it, so apparently it's been a long time since I made it. But they thought it was it was special. They really liked it, and they wanted to have more of it, and they were just raving about it. So I was really excited to bring back a recipe that I hadn't made since they were really young, and they didn't remember it. My husband, of course, remembers it because he remembers it as a kid. But you have those recipes where you make them and then they just sit there and you forget about them. I don't know, it's kind of becoming obsolete, right? Having a recipe card, but I still like the recipe card. I like the book, the cookbook, open up because it's on my phone. My phone closes and I have to reopen it all the time and find it. And it's kind of annoying. So it's really nice to have. I have a recipe card that I wrote out years ago. I think I got it from her when I was in my 20s, this recipe. And so it's still on the fun recipe card. That's fun too. I actually have some recipe cards of my mom's and my grandma's too, which is really fun. So I have this big old, I don't know, it's kind of like a shoebox, I guess. And it has all these recipes in it. A lot of them are written from my grandma or my mom. And periodically I'll go in there and take them out and use some of them. And yes, it's fun to have things digital, but it's so fun to have the original recipe written on a card in one of your loved ones' handwriting that you got from them as a gift or a, hey, can I have this recipe kind of thing? And they hand it to you, those memories, right? So that's just really fun. And so for me, I don't think digital will completely replace recipes for me. I'm going to always have these cards, and I like the books. I like to open the books and look at them. It's so much quicker to look down in an open book and be like, okay, what do I need next? When it's on my phone, I get a little irritated because my phone, it goes silent. It goes black, and I have to do my code again and get in there. So I don't know. I don't know if you're like me. Maybe it's nostalgic, but I really like it. And I think it's fun. And I think that it's just a really fun memory to pull those recipes out and make them. And then, food elicits memories from us, from when we were younger, when we made it, who we made it with, who we made it for. And it just is a flood of memories. And food has always been like that for me. And I've always thought about it that way, that food elicits memories and fun times and good feelings and feelings of nostalgia. So good, so good, so good. And I don't think I'll ever forget how much work we did to make that rehearsal meal dinner for our son and his wife. And I'll probably never forget that because we put so much effort into it, right? And it was homemade and people really liked it and were raving. That's one of the things I'll probably think about maybe every time I make something Mexican, like tacos. It was a taco bar and it was, that probably is going to pop in my head all the time. So food brings us our memories, brings us back to those moments that we had fun, we enjoyed, we worked hard. Something turned out fantastic and was so yummy and delicious and good. I wrote an article about this on Her View from Home. I used to write for them. And it was about food memories. And, I think I was talking about Christmas cookies and stuff. And so much fun, like making cookies with my mom and my grandma and our family. And those memories, they're there. And every time I pull out the recipe and I make those, often it just pops in my head when we used to make them together. So food is tied to memories and good times. And that will never change, no matter how digital we become. Well, I hope you enjoy this recipe. I hope you really like it. Check out all my other episodes on the podcast. And I try to put the recipes down in the podcast show notes so you can have them, because often it's kind of hard to be writing down because sometimes I talk kind of fast. So writing them down as I'm talking is kind of a pain in the butt. So I put them down in the podcast show notes. So again, the mustard sauce recipe will be down in the podcast show notes. You can get that. Also links to my books, my cookbook, and I'm also a fiction author. And I have a website, juliehogewriter.com. So you can visit any of those. Please comment on my podcast, share it, like it. I would love it. Thank you so much for listening. And I really appreciate you listening. I really do. And enjoy Grandma's homemade mustard sauce. All right. Bye-bye now.